The mirror, of course, confirms what is going on inside of you and thus reinforces this system. Again, you keep on seeing what you are believing and you keep on believing what you are seeing. And because every person is an individual perspective of the same universe and everything is connected, every person may represent a certain profile of mental or emotional states, a certain frequency pattern. Thus, you may appear to attract other persons that reflect exactly what is going to inside of you. But in fact, these other persons that appear to be separate from you are aspects of the same universe that you are and merely are the mirror images of your inner state. You are not attracting, although you may appear to be attracting, and it is useful the way of looking at things. But what you are really doing is creative, and so does everything else. You are co creating with every other aspect of the universe. Wow. So, I'm here to conclude things now. Enough of boring lecture. But right now I'm here to conclude what we have learned. So the past we have served as a simplified and shortened illustration of the fact that science is catching up with knowledge that has been known for millennia. The ancients all across the world, whether we are talking about the stories described in the Vedas, the story of the Hopi, the Zulus, the Sutra Buddhists, the ancient Greek, and so on, all talk about a web that interconnects all things and the way in which we create our own reality. What was discussed in the previous chapter is merely a tip of the iceberg of knowledge available today for another who bothers to look. Of course, it is a very simplified representation of mechanism in question, not least because it has only been analyzed from an individual point of view and not from a collective perspective. Naturally, there is much more to find out about it, but a tendency to attempt to rationally and analytically explain a process of infinite complexity is an impossible task. In addition, there is not much use to it because obsessing every detail of the mechanism will drive the average person nuts in the end. Just like the ancients in the golden age, the important thing is the practical application of the knowledge. Without practical, there is no knowledge. However, it is increasingly becoming clear that you play an extremely significant role in determining every aspect of the reality you experience, both through your own inner state. The vibrational field you put up for yourself and your belief system that plays a significant role in seeing this field into existence and creating your observed reality. Clearly, the pivot on which everything else hinges is your belief system. It influences what you observe directly as well as be it in an indirect fraction, what there is to be seen. Therefore, the possibilities of your life, of what you can do with your life, what you can achieve, are only limited by your imagination. Your belief system determines what there is to be seen and what you actually see. Your belief system determines what you deem to be possible. Therefore, what you will deem to be impossible, you will never attract or create in your life. You simply won't see it. However, you control your belief system. After all, what did you know when you were born as a baby? You had an entirely open mind. Nobody told you yet how things work in this world. Then through your education and upbringing, you were taught how things work in the world. Or were you really? What really happened was that you were fed an image of the way people believe things to be. Of course, these people had the best of intentions. They were taught the way the previous generation believed things to be. For generation upon generation, these thoughts have stayed in our minds. For generation, people have been conditioned the next generation into believing that the world works in certain ways, most likely through a series of random events that you do not have any conscious control over. And of course, because these beliefs became the new belief systems of every new generation created the same reality, simply because they believed things to be that way. Which reality am I referring to? Well, the one in which you are powerless and subject to accidents and events caused by others. But change your belief system and you will create an entirely different reality. After all, your belief system determines what you observe. And additionally, through your thoughts and emotions and DNA, it determines what there is to be seen. Push your boundaries of imagination and you push the boundaries of possibility in your reality. Such is the nature of your own power. You can control the DVD movie of life. By knowing first that you are in control, you can then start selecting the track you want to experience. Right now, you may find yourself in that dramatical movie scene that just is not much fun to participate in. Get clear on what you want, and your DVD, laser, the RNA will start to play a different track of the DVD, your DNA. At this point, science understands a mere 3% to 5% of DNA. The other 95% to 97% they call junk DNA, because scientists don't understand anything about it. They dub it mere junk as if it does not do anything of importance, yet the DNA of humans is for 90% equal to that of a mouse. This mere 10% difference in DNA translates into an entirely different creature. So imagine what is stored in that 95% to 97% of DNA. Imagine what potential lines they're awaiting to be applied. You can open your mind to override your current belief system with one that has a greater conception of possibility. You can choose what to believe, and you can get rid of limiting thoughts and conceptions of yourself. You will start to send out an entirely different vibration. You will thus rearrange the frequency pattern that you put up for yourself in order to be absorbed into existence to reinforce your new belief system. Thus, you will merely start to play a different track on the movie DVD of life. It will bring along a different scene, perhaps a more comedy-like scene. You may appear to be moving through time linearly, but what is happening in reality is that you start to play a different track. You pull a different DVD track towards you. You don't attract, but you attract, basically. And it all starts with a choice of what you imagine yourself to be capable of. The intention of this lesson has been to give you a sneak peek into your own barrel of power in order to give you the first push to expand the limited conceptions you may have of your own capabilities. The intention was to show you the importance of your own state in the creation of your own reality. And in addition, it has given you a handle to grip to start making the changes you desire come about. The handle is to change your image of your own capability into the realization that you are an incredible being with a power or to create whatever you want. If only you decide to take responsibility and start to live life on your own terms. After all, you are the one who is creating it. Why not create something you like? So after realizing who you are and becoming aware of your power, where to go from here? So the time has come. It's time for you, as well as for all other people, to change your life into what you have always wanted and what you are always longing for so bad. By changing yourself and by allowing other people to change themselves according to the universal principalities, the whole world will change into the most remarkable place. That's the nature of this revolution. Today, we are marking a period in history. So, control your DNA. Whatever you want, whatever you think, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to express, whatever is good, try to move towards that. And you can create your own reality that, in sense, will change the entire earth. We can heal this planet as well as the universe. There are two things basically. Either you're good, either you're bad. If you're good, you create goodness, which in turn makes things living. And if you're bad, you just make wrong decisions due to your own limited understandings. There is time to understand things and act in a very nice and an intelligent manner. Thank you. So what you have listened till now, I have to judge your listening abilities. And if you are good in listening, it is quite impressive for me that my fellow friends have a good listening power. So, it happens that when we speak, people don't listen. But with your own power, be very true to yourself. And if you are true, your results will be true. What do you really understood about quanta? That's my first question. You can write the answer. The second question, what is the effect of DNA in your life? The third question is, what do you think your brain is? And the fourth question, I told you about drinking water and about Dr. Masaru Emoto experiment. Can you tell me something which you remember, Dr. Masaru Emoto? This is the first phase. Once you are done with the answers, the instructor will give you the video again and you can see this and give the second answers so that you will listen and understand more clearly the main concepts of your life and our planet. Thank you. I'm here to tell you about your fitness. So, how would you rate your mental level of fitness? Hi, my mental performance is exceptional. Just call me Leonardo da Vinci. Medium. I occasionally think of new things and sometimes challenge my thinking muscles. Low. My mind is like a bowl of tapioca pudding. I'm in real need of mental workout. So there are three categories in which you can make yourself as your mental muscles: high, medium, and low. So I'm here to help you improve your performance and improving your understanding ability and everything. So let me take you to a mental tour. So in mental tour, you have to do something. What I will ask you to do, just for a moment, close your eyes and imagine that you're holding an orange. Picture what it would feel like, what it would look like, and what it would smell like for a few moments. Try to form as clear an image as you can. Now imagine peeling off the skin, pulling apart the segments, and biting into a piece. After a moment, examine a segment very closely. Ask yourself what the orange would look like if you could enlarge it 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times. What might the cells look like? What might the molecules look like? For the next couple of minutes, try to become aware of everything and that you know and don't know about oranges. Think about what makes an orange, why it tastes the way it does, how many types of oranges there may be, how oranges may have evolved through time, what purposes orange may serve, and how to make a good orange. As you think about the orange, pay close attention to the quality of your thoughts. Just relax and think everything about oranges. Now you can open your eyes and write on the answer sheet what you have just experienced. This will help me in understanding you. Thank you. So, my dear friends, I'm here to take you on a grand tour. It's very grand and it's very luxurious. You will enjoy it. So, stay with me, stay focused, and listen. What I want you to do right now is close your eyes and settle into a comfortable posture. Just spend a few minutes relaxing your body. Relax your hands and your entire body. Begin by letting your body become loose and limp. Allow your weight to sink and your muscles to relax. Spend a while just paying attention to how your body feels. Focus on your physical sensations in your arms, shoulders, back, head, stomach, and legs, as well as inside your chest, abdomen, and hips. Then slowly shift your attention to your breath. Focus on the sensation of air now passing through your nostrils. As you inhale and exhale, allow your breathing to become calmer and more even. Don't try to force your breath. Just allow it to be natural and fluid. Each time a distracting thought passes through your mind, use it as a reminder to return your attention to your body. Gently lead the focus of your mind back to your sensations. That's right. Allow yourself to let go completely and to sink deeply into the warm feeling of relaxation. Recirculate your sensation back into your sensation. That's right. Just stay in this. Become so quiet inside that you can feel your heartbeat throughout your body. As your attention becomes clearer with each breath, turn it to relaxing specific parts of your body. Begin by mentally picturing your face, visualize your eyes, mouth, cheeks, and jaw. Form a vivid mental image of each part, becoming more relaxed as you gaze on it.
As you turn your attention to these parts of your face, you may discover the presence of subtle tension. Simply allow the tension to dissipate through the visualization. When your face is thoroughly relaxed, move on to your ears, neck, shoulder, arms, and fingers. Visualize each part becoming looser and more relaxed. The clearer your picture, the more deeply you relax. Continue visualizing the rest of your body, your chest, back, stomach, legs, knees, and toes. Remember, there is no need to rush. Just let yourself enjoy the experience of touring your body. Once you finish picturing your toes, visualize your entire body as a relaxed, sentient statue. Immerse yourself in the sensations of full relaxation. Just let go. For 5 to 10 minutes, you can do this. And once you are done with it, open your eyes and write whatever happened exactly. What you saw, what you want to write. Just write it truly. That will help me estimate you, which will again help me and develop you. Thank you. I'm telling you about Phaedrus. He was first century poet. The bow that always bent will quickly break, but if unstrung will serve you at your need. So let the mind some relaxation take to come back to its task with fresher head. So this basically means that if a bow which is always bent will break, and if it is unstrung, it will serve you at your need. And so let the minds have some relaxation. I will tell you some tips to relax your mind. This will be given to you as a printout, so you can keep it with yourself. So keep your mind fresh by relaxing your body. Settle into a comfortable posture. Relax any muscles you don't need to use. Steady and even out your breathing. And sink into your sensations. Tip number 2 is unclutter your thinking by identifying what you need to think about. Write out a list of demands, needs, wants, pressures, anticipations that's on your mind. Release the hidden concerns by looking at the big picture. Tip 3. Bring your mind into here and now. Develop a technique to come back to your senses. Learn the best way for you to collect the full 100 volts of your attention and to focus it where and when you want it. Tip 4. Periodically take some time to relax and unwind. Develop the skill of letting go fully by setting aside some time each day to do nothing. Thank you. So these were some tips to loosen up. So I'm here to tell you about your memory, how it functions and how it works. So there are four numbers which I will ask you to remember. It is written on the screen on the left side. These numbers are 3, 5, 4, 8. So it's easy to remember. Let me make it 5 digits. 3, 5, 4, 8, 4. You can remember it. 5, 7, 9, 1, 3, 2. Can you repeat it? Okay. 2, 5, 4, 7, 7, 0, 4. Okay. 8, 5, 7, 1, 3, 2, 7, 0. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 5, 8, 4, 2, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 6, 1, 9, 4, 1, 7, 2, 1, 1, 9, 6, 9. So as we saw in this experiment, that when the amount of number increases, it's difficult to remember the sequence. So what is your level? Were you able to remember the first line, second line, third line? How many mobile numbers do you remember? One way to increase attention span is to organize information into meaningful groups. For example, if you think of the sequence of 12 digits as some important dates, with the first 7 numbers 12-6-1941 representing the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and the second 7 numbers 7-12-1969 representing the first manned lunar landing, you will probably have less difficulty recalling it. Here is a test of imagination. What you have to imagine, what you have to visualize is each of the following items. So if the images don't appear as bright as you want, don't try to force them into being. Instead, focus on the idea of seeing an image. Know that whether you are trying to visualize has a shape, a texture, a color, and a size. Focus first on the shape and then fill in the details. Take some time to allow the image to become steady and sharp. Think about a familiar face. Okay, has the image been made? Okay, let's go to next. Let's think about your childhood friend. How does it look like? How it is his face? Think about a running dog. Think about your bedroom. Think about a sunset. Done? A flying eagle. Done? A drop of dew on a leaf or something. Just visualize it. A keyboard, typewriter keyboard. Your toothbrush which you use in the morning. Your favorite pair of shoes. Okay, so these are the real things which you had to imagine, and whatever successfully you have imagined, just tick mark on the paper which you have. Let's imagine about the unreal things. Think about a chocolate river. A river which is filled with chocolate. It's quite easy. Just imagine it. Okay. Think about a 30-foot long ant. Okay. Think about angels. Think about a talking giraffe. Okay. So whatever I said, just mark it out if you were able to visualize it or not. Thank you. Mr. Nikola Tesla, the inventor of fluorescent light bulb, the AC generator and high voltage electricity, had an extraordinary capacity to create imagination. He routinely envisioned three-dimensional images of complicated machines. These were complete in every detail and as clear as blueprints. Even more astonishingly, Tesla tested his machines mentally by letting them run in his mind for several weeks and thoroughly examining their components for sign of wear. He was a great imaginer, and I want you to be a great imaginer. So, first things first, what I have to do is think about your last night dinner. Spend a minute or two picturing the scene. Visualize the people you were with, the surroundings, the table settings, the taste of food, the sounds you heard. Before reading on, take some time to allow your image to build piece by piece. Start now. Just relax and think of when you had food last night. Think about every single thing. Okay. So now you can open your eyes and answer these questions. So was your image clear or indistinct? So did you have a clear image? Yes, no? Okay. Is the image brighter or dimmer? So what you made an image, was it brighter or was it dim? Okay. Does the image appear in color or in shades of gray? Was it colorful? Was it gray? Can you retain a steady image of your dinner plate? Can you see that dinner plate right now? So when you see it, does it grow brighter? Can you feel the taste of the food? Can you picture what people were wearing, what you were wearing? Yes, no. These are yes, no questions, yes or no. That's quite easy. Thank you. Sit in front of a clock or a watch that has a sweep second hand. The watch which is on the screen, or a watch which you have in your hand, or if there's not a watch, think about a watch. It's quite easy, huh? Relax for a few moments, collect your attention, and when you're ready, place your attention on the motion of the second hand. For 2 minutes, focus your awareness on the movement of the second hand, as if nothing else in the universe existed. If you lose the thread of concentration by thinking about something else, or just by spacing out, stop, collect your attention and start again. Try to keep your concentration for 2 solid minutes. Stop reading, get a watch or a clock, and go ahead and do it. Hello friends, I'm here to tell you about you. I'm here to tell you about your body. I'm here to tell you about what you are. What is the basic structure of your body? So let me start. Let me demonstrate the implications which are together helping you realize who are you. So we all are made by DNA. DNA is
something which is called deoxyribonucleic acid, pretty hard to pronounce. In living creature, DNA is the carrier of genetic information. DNA is the code that defines how you or any other living creature is built up, or rather it defines how your body or any other living creature's body is built up. In simple terms, DNA is built up of building block units called nucleotides. These nucleotides are called adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. We can call it simply as A, C, G, and T. As such, DNA is arranged in a sequence of these letters, and the way in which they are arranged determines how you, your body look, and your body cell functions. A striking notion is the fact that the DNA of our life, whether we are talking about humans, cats, dogs, fish, plants, trees, birds, bees, and so on, is coded in a sequence of these same 4 units. Everybody has a DNA, and everybody has coded in A, C, G, and T. A computer, let me make you more simpler for you. A computer needs a programming language to tell it what to do or what to display on the screen. Apparently, life in the physical manifestation that we all perceive is coded in the language of DNA. The alphabet of this language consists of the 4 letters A, C, G, and T. And the sequence of these letters determine the words of the whole story of life, or at least the physical manifestation of it. However, a computer can have a large set of data and programs on a hard disk, or on a CD or a DVD, but it still needs instructions on which program to read to start up. For example, your computer needs an instruction to start up your word processor in order for your word processor to be displayed on the screen. So you can type your letters or books or anything for that matter. As another illustration, your computer needed the illustration to start up the PDF reader in order for this teaching to be displayed on your monitor for you to be able to read it, and possibly even print it on paper. Without the instruction to do so, nothing would have happened. Ready? The DVD player needs an instruction to start reading the data. However, after being instructed to read a program or data, a laser within the playing device will read the data on the DVD. In order to start up the program you choose to run from the DVD, such as the PDF reader, and eventually display it on the screen. In the same way, programs of your body are stored in the DNA of your body cells. Basically, the DNA in your cells contains all information for all your body cell functions, and probably even more. Every cell contains the same DNA. Every cell has the entire programming of your entire body stored within itself. However, which program or function a particular body cell will execute is determined by which program within the DNA is read or is started up. Like a laser reads the data from a DVD, something called RNA or ribonucleic acid reads that part of the DNA in the cell that is to be executed by that particular cell. So why is this study of DNA important? The significance of this all will become clear soon enough. For now, you have acquired an understanding of the importance of DNA in our life experience. Now we can build towards the more mind-boggling parts of this teaching. But first, we need to go into another subject to give you basic understanding of that part of the story as well. Quanta. What is this quanta? Quanta is defined by science. Science used to think that all things physical could be broken down into smaller and smaller particles. First, scientists discovered molecules. They found, for instance, that water is built up of water molecules. Then they discovered that these molecules were built up of even smaller particles called atoms. For example, water molecules consisted of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom bound together. Then scientists started to look inside atoms to see if there were even smaller particles. The subatomic particles they discovered were protons, neutrons, and electrons, and later particles like quarks, photons, and neutrinos. Quantum physics is a field of science that is devoted to behavior of atoms and these subatomic particles. But when it comes to these subatomic pieces, things get intriguing. In fact, just like science has done for centuries, we tend to think of molecules and atoms as objects, as pieces, as physical things, spheres, if you will, however small. In this way, small pieces appear to be built up of even smaller pieces, like atoms are built up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, and protons and neutrons themselves are built up of quarks. However, these pieces do not behave like pieces or objects anymore. For example, an object cannot be in 2 places at the same time. If you hold a pen in the hand, it means it will be in your hand. But when we talk about an electron, it basically happens in two places. So we tend to think of an electron as an object, a small sphere circling around the core of an atom. However, an electron does not behave like an object in the way we know an object to behave. For example, when an electron is shot at a television screen, a tiny point of line appears at the place where it collides. As such, an electron does appear to be an object. However, when an electron is fired at a barrier with two slits in it, it can go through the two slits simultaneously. That means the object is in two places at the same time. No object can do that. Think of something else which also behaves at two places. So when we talk about waves, wave is also a thing which does not has an exact location. It is spread around over space. It is a frequency of vibration. So scientists discovered that all subatomic particles can behave both like an object and like a wave. They are not either a particle or a wave. Instead, they are essentially both. Basically, they are entities of energy, which scientists call quanta. And quantum physicists believe that the universe is entirely made of these energy units or quanta. If you paid attention, you may have made the association with the fact that we keep trying to call on your common sense in realizing that all you perceive with your five senses are merely frequencies. The sound we hear is a frequency picked up by our ears and decoded by your brain into something familiar. The things you see with your eyes are merely different frequencies, decoded by your brain into an image. Hungarian biophysicist and Nobel Prize winner George von Beckersey demonstrated that the skin responds to frequencies as well, thus translating the sense of touch into picking up frequencies as well. In fact, common sense confirms the notion initiated by two neuropsychologists at Berkeley University called Russell and Karen, that your brain is a frequency decoder. And now, quantum physicists are acknowledging that the entire universe is made up of energy units called quanta that behave both wave-like and object-like. The question then is, when do these quanta act like object particles and when do they behave like a wave? In other words, when do they become solid? This is perhaps the most astonishing characteristic of quanta discovered by physicists. Get ready for this. The only time that a quantum manifests as a particle and thus the only time that a quantum becomes solid is when you consciously try to observe it. What? So only when you try to look at the quantum, it becomes an object. For all the rest of the time, it behaves like a wave or a frequency. Is that something? You basically see the quantum into solid existence. The action of looking at it makes it solid. Reality indeed appears to be a wave-like consisting of frequencies that become a tangible image as soon as you consciously observe them, as your brain decodes them into a five-sense image. Wow! You may or may not acknowledge the amplification of these apparently separate stories yet. I spoke about quanta, I spoke about DNA, and how does that benefit you? I am going to tell you the benefit of knowing about quanta and the DNA. Based on the scientific notions discussed here, the following will integrate these findings into a well-rounded image of the extent of your power and active role in creating your life experience. And after that, this teaching will show you how you can apply this power to attract and create whatever it is you want. DNA effects. First of all, let's pick the story up with DNA. Relatively recently, a number of experiments have shown a very interesting light on DNA. For example, at the Russian Academy of Sciences, quantum biologist Vladimir Poponin performed an experiment with his colleagues to study the effect of DNA on photons. Photons are quanta. Photons are known as light particles. Basically, according to quantum physics, photons are what our reality is made of. We generally consider a vacuum to be entirely empty, but light is able to travel through what we call a vacuum. After all, sunlight makes it to planet Earth while traveling through the vacuum of space, doesn't it? So Poponin did an experiment with specifically designed vacuum tube, which was a vacuum true enough, but did contain photons that could be detected with their equipment. At first, the photons were spread around the tube in a completely unordered fashion. There was no clear pattern in which these light particles were arranged. Then Poponin and his colleague placed samples of human DNA in the vacuum tube. And astonishingly, what happened was that the photons rearranged themselves into an entirely different arrangement. The human DNA had a direct influence on the arrangement of photons, the quanta, the light particles, that you observe to see to view reality. And even more astonishingly, after the DNA was removed from the tube, the DNA still had its effect on the arrangement of the photons. Poppenin called this the DNA phantom effect. So, apparently, your DNA has a direct effect on the arrangement of the quanta that our outside reality consists of. It is commonly known that vast amount of research that your emotions have a direct influence on the function of your body cells. This effect is also easily observable when your body produces different kinds of hormones under different emotional states. This is a direct physical reaction on emotion. In response to emotional triggers, hormones are produced that in turn influences the operation of other body cells. The Japanese Dr. Masaru Emoto had published multiple books on the effects of water. What Dr. Masaru Emoto did, he took water and he crystallized it in his fridge. So before crystallizing it, what he did, he put thoughts on water. Quite astonishing. Thoughts on water? Yes. What he did was he took a glass of water and put some positive thoughts in it. And then the crystals of the ice which he took were having a very nice photos which are displayed here. Words can be seen as vibrations or frequencies too. In fact, every symbol can be seen as a vibration. Acoustics is the name of field of study within the science of physics that studies sound. The foundations for these disciplines were led by a jurist, musician, and physicist known by the name of Earls Charley, who lived in the 18th century. By drawing a violin bow perpendicularly across the edge of the flat plates that were covered with that sand, Chladni caused the sand to rearrange itself into patterns or symbols which today are called Chladni figures. In essence, the sound vibrations he induced with the violin bow created frequencies, patterns, according to which the sand particles arrange themselves in order to produce a symbol or a figure. Thus, the figure is a vibration. In the same way, words represent a vibration. However, in case of words, it is rather the intention behind the words that determines the vibration. For instance, saying "I'll kill you" in a jokingly fashion represents an entirely different vibration than saying it in all seriousness. Likewise, the intention or feeling behind music can be expressed in entirely different frequency patterns. Of course, skeptics have criticized Dr. Masaru Emoto's work, but it does reveal that what we think, feel, say, and do affect everything else through sending out vibrations, often beyond the boundaries of what your five senses can perceive. When you are born, your body consists for about 90% of water, for about 70% when you are an adult. Imagine the effect of your thoughts and emotions on you and your body when it consists of water for about 70%. When humans grow old, their body has 50% of water. So we start from 100% of water. When we reach adult age, we get 70% of water. And when we reach old age, we get 50% of water. So the motive of the story, drink more water. But there is more, and once again, it has to do with your DNA. We tend to think that we are born with DNA that is basically set in your stone. Your DNA is given and it does not change unless specifically manipulated. However, in 1993, the army did an experiment in which it collected tissue from the inside of a volunteer's mouth. This sample was isolated and taken to another room, while the person it came from was in yet another room. This person was shown a sequence of video images of all kinds of categories: comedy, drama, war footage, erotic pictures, and so on. At the same time, the DNA in the other room was measured electrically to see to what extent it responded to the emotions of the person from whom it came. Again, the results were astonishing. At the exact same instances that the person experienced emotional dips and peaks, the DNA showed a very powerful electrical response. Then, between 1992 and 1995, a series of experiments were conducted to test the effects of human emotion on DNA. The experiments were performed with people who were trained and apt in specific mental and emotional self-management techniques to focus on positive emotions. When the DNA was analyzed both chemically and visually, the undeniable conclusion was that human emotion changed the shape of the DNA. So basically, the vibrations of your thoughts and emotions do have a significant influence on your body and being in general, and specifically on your DNA. Also, as we discussed, your DNA has a significant influence on the arrangement of the quanta photons that made up your outside world. This means that through your thoughts and emotions, you indirectly influence your outside world via your DNA. But there's more about this topic. Let me tell you some more astonishing facts. Our human body, every single cell changes in 11 months. So, what are you? This is a serious question to think. If every cell of your body changes in 11 months, who are you? While we brainstorm enough, we cannot get this answer. So, let me put it in front of you. I think that we are a collection of thoughts which changes, and whatever you are, whatever decisions you take, is based on the people you meet, the influences you have in your childhood, on your early childhood. Whatever you do is based on that. Undoubtedly, thoughts and emotions are heavily intertwined. You think differently under highly destructive or highly constructive emotions, and you feel differently under highly destructive or highly constructive thoughts. But what differentiates your emotion or thought response to situations that occur in your life? The answer is your belief system. It is your belief system, or in other words, your worldview, that determines your interpretation of the situations that occur in your life. The way you interpret the situations and occurrences in your life is entirely determined by what you believe is to be true. For example, if you did know any better, it would appear that what happens in your life is a sequence of random events that you do not have any conscious control over. However, once you have opened up your mind to a greater truth that says that there are hidden forces working behind the scenes through which you can consciously determine the outcomes of your life, you realize that you can exert conscious control over your life, and that the perception of all events being random was merely a deceptive illusion. In other words, by opening your mind to a greater truth, you managed to gain an entirely new world perspective, a new worldview which gave you an entirely different interpretation of the nature of life and reality. As such, your mental and emotional response will be entirely different. For example, you will not respond with feelings and thoughts of desperation, frustration, and fear over your sorry circumstances anymore, but you will take responsibility for attracting and creating them, and making conscious changes to your life in order to attract and create something better. However, there is a catch in the human game. This catch is what we call seeing is believing. Most of us believe things when we see them, but in this context, consider the following. As touched upon earlier in this book, you don't actually see with your eyes. Your eyes pick up the frequencies which are decoded into an image by your brain. It is actually your brain that sees. Consider this. Most people will be familiar with overlooking misspelled words. This is because your eyes, or rather your brain, is so accustomed to reading the words in correct spelling that it simply overlooks a typo. The typo is filtered out of the image by your brain, which causes you to overlook it and see the correct spelling which is in line with your expectation. This does not happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes, which illustrates the point to make here. Neuropsychologists like Carl Pribram have long been aware of this fact. As mentioned before, your eyes pick up the frequencies, the information. This information is then sent to your brain to decode into an image. Specifically, it is sent to the visual cortex, the visual area in your brain. However, on its way to the visual cortex, the information passes the lens in your eyes to be focused. Then the vitreous humor, a jelly-like substance behind the lens, is captured on the retina like an image is captured on film with a photo camera. Then the information passes the temporal lobes in your brains to eventually reach the visual cortex that constructs an image. That's quite a path to travel. However, the information captured on the retina is upside down. Also, some studies suggest that less than 50% of what you see is actually based on information entering your eyes. The rest is made up by your brain based on the expectations it has of what things look like. In other words, the temporal lobes edit the information to reassemble the upside-down two-dimensional picture into a 3D image that suits what your brain expects to see. In other words, to suit your ingrained belief system in relation to the example of misspelled words. Your ingrained belief system, the correct spelling of the words you must have the time, caused your brain to filter out the information that was at odds with its conditioned worldview, its expectations. In university, I once did a simple test in which I had to watch a video with another student watch the same video in another room. We then had to tell what we saw on the video. My story was completely different. from the story of the other student. We had a different way of looking at the video, a different interpretation of the situation based on our own particular worldviews. Likewise, studies have shown that men and women often have trouble communicating accurately with each other because what one says, the other does not hear. Each hears merely whatever supports their belief and prejudice about each other. They pick up only what they want to hear or what supports their conditioned view of the way things are. This is a psychological phenomenon called selective retention. In the same way, apparently, according to Karl Pribram and other scientists, you only see a mere 50% of the information that enters your eyes, while the other 50% is edited according to your condition, belief system, or worldview. So what does this have to do with the catch we talked about? What does this have to do with seeing is believing? The catch is that seeing is not just believing. Apparently, believing is also seeing. Because the information picked up by your eyes is edited by your brain according to its ingrained belief systems, a large proportion of what you actually see is determined by what you believe deep inside to be true. You see what you believe, and of course, because you see what you believe, you immediately believe what you see. Because it supports your belief systems and that determine what you saw in the first place. Thus, what you see reinforces your belief system, which causes you to see things in the way you believe things to be, which in turn again makes you see things in that way. It is self-reinforcing cycle. Now, these are some astonishing realizations. Now it is time to put them into perspective. So here is a quickie. What you have learned till now. Your thoughts and emotions have a significant influence on your DNA. Your DNA has a significant influence on the arrangement of the quanta that are made up of the outside world, the reality you observe and experience. Your belief system or worldview greatly determines what you see or observe of the outside world, the reality you experience. Your belief system or worldwide view greatly determines your thought response and emotional response due to the fact that it defines your interpretations of what you observe in life. Now, what does all this mean? It means that basically the outside world or reality that you experience is determined from two angles: your belief system, worldview, what you believe to be true, the way in which you things are, which determines for about 50% what you observe. Your DNA, which has been shown to have a direct effect on the arrangement of the quanta that the outside world is made of, according to quantum physics. Next, strikingly, your belief system also influences your DNA, be it indirectly through determining your mental and emotional response. Both your mental and emotional response have been shown to significantly influence your DNA, remember? So your basic system actually determines what you observe both indirectly and indirectly. Directly by editing the information that your eyes pick up, indirectly by influencing your DNA through your mental and emotional response to what you observe, because your DNA influences the arrangement of the photons that your eyes pick up. Note that these photons are quanta, which are waves, frequencies all the time, until you consciously look at them. Upon the action of observing them, they become solid objects. This, of course, is the action of your brain constructing an image. So that means that the outside world, the reality you experience, is entirely a reflection of what is going on inside of you. Your DNA influences what there is to be seen outside and is itself influenced by your thoughts and emotions. These thoughts and emotions are greatly determined by your worldview or belief system. Then, once you look at the photon arrangements set up by your DNA, you basically see what is going on inside of you. That is because you see what your belief system has caused your DNA to send out in order to rearrange the photons. Then, consequently, what you see confirms your belief systems merely because what there is to be seen is a reflection of your belief system. Thus, in turn, causes your belief system to be reinforced, which strengthens this whole cycle. You keep on seeing what you are believing, and you keep on believing what you are seeing. In other words, the outside world is nothing but a mirror of what is going on inside of you. Life mirrors aspects of yourself. Thus, you appear to attract exactly the vibrations that you send out. Indeed, you project these vibrations through your DNA and then see them into existence yourself.